curiosity. I don't know if that's something you instilled in yourself from your parents, or you just were already like that. But I think that's an important thing. Like, how do you instill that in your kids, and how would you teach people that? Can you teach curiosity? Because I feel like that's one of the most the core skill that you will need in the information age, where you can have all the information you want. You just need to be curious and asking the right questions.
I don't know if you can teach curiosity, but you can feed it.
Okay.
What I mean by that is I probably am more curious than maybe your average person. Ask questions. People answer them. Whether it was my parents, people in my life, teachers, whatever, the internet. Oh, I can just ask a question. Somebody gives me the answer. Let me ask another one. Let me ask another, right? And it's just like this positive feedback loop. And so you just keep asking. And then you realize, I mean, my wife hates this. A lot of my friends are like, dude, please stop. I'll go to dinner with someone, and if it's somebody I don't know, and they do something interesting, like there's one guy in particular, he's the co-founder of a very, very popular movie studio. And he's a young guy, right? He's like about my age. And he happened to sit down next to me at dinner once, maybe 8 people there. And I just grilled him. I just, for 40 minutes probably, asked him every question I could think about the industry, about why they make certain decisions, what movies get greenlit, which ones don't, what are the economics, how do they find investors, how do they think about operating inside the company, why did they raise money from certain investors, what were the terms, I mean, just everything.
Yeah.
I'm like, dude, this guy is an expert at this.
Right. Did you see him again, or is he like, no, I don't want to see this guy
I see him again, and by the way, guess what? He loves to talk about it, right?
Okay,
like he's like, dude, I nobody ever wants to talk to me about, financing of films or, all stuff, whatever.
Strokes his ego a little bit too, right?
Of course. And I'm like super just like, I've learned if you really want somebody to give you answers to things, just be like, hey, you're an expert. I'm dumb. I'm going to ask really stupid questions.
Right.
Fire away, right? And you've given yourself the cover of like, I know I'm going to ask dumb questions. If they're too stupid, you don't have to answer.
Right.
They answer them all, right? And then I recently went to a conference overseas, and I was standing in the green room, and a guy walked in. I knew who he was. He's very famous, multi-billionaire, a number of different industries over his life, kind of an older guy now. And most of the people in the room did not know who he was. And so I was standing there, and he was standing in a group of people. And I was like, man, I really want to talk to this guy. I don't know how long he's going to be here. Maybe he's going to leave in 2 minutes, whatever. And so there's also an element of just like, you got to have some balls, man.
Yeah.
And it's an acquired skill because it's very uncomfortable. But I just said to myself, like, I will regret forever if I stood in this room 5 feet from this guy and I did not talk to him. And so rather than go approach him, I said his name out loud and I said, can you come here for a second?
What?
And he walked, I mean, it was, again, it's a green room. There's maybe 10 people there, right? So it's not like I'm like at a big party or anything.
Yeah, like screaming his name. Yeah.
No, but he walked over. I was standing there with my brother, and I said, my name is so-and-so. This is my brother. I have a couple questions. Can I ask? And he was like, sure. And I hit him with a question about like one of the first companies he ever owned. And you could just tell he was like, oh, this dude not only knows who I am, he actually knows about a lot of things that I've done.
Yeah.
And so I just started asking him question after question after question to the point where he literally goes, hey man, maybe you should be the one interviewing me up there on stage.
Yeah.
And I was like, all right, you can go back to like your friends or what, like, it was kind of like, all right, that's enough. But it was just this thing of like, maybe he thinks it's weird. Maybe he's going to walk out of there and be like, man, that guy asked me a lot of questions. But the odds that I would ever see that guy and get to ask him those questions is so small that it's irresponsible of me not to get the answers.
Yeah.
And so I just asked and asked and asked and asked. And then when he left, guess what? Every single person in that room was like, yo, what's that guy's story? I said, well, let me explain this guy. And he actually has like a crazy story.
Yeah.
And everyone was like, damn. And I'm like, yeah, by the way, I only knew like half of what I just told you guys because he just told me the other half. Right? I knew the headline of the story. He just told me the details. And so it's that constant attitude of just like, look, I don't care. Like, I want to learn, right? And by the way, if you judge me, if you think I'm stupid for trying to learn, like, you're probably just not going to be my friend.
Right.
And so just be like shameless about learning. And what that does is, again, it's the curiosity. They feed your curiosity. So you ask more and more questions and they'll tell you. If they're tired of answering questions, they'll just be like, hey, man, nice to meet you.
Yeah.
I'm going to go over here. Okay.